Hi, I'm Ted from Everything Attachments, and most everyone knows us from the field doing attachments with Peanut. So Morgan Nelson kind of called us out on spotted something on YouTube with my son racing, and would like to hear a little history. So we thought this is kind of something we've been skipping for the last 12 years because some people think one way and some people think another. But in the end result, you'll see why our attachments are the best on the planet. They have a lot to do when we go back to all the way when I was a child. But when I was 14 years old, I met Peanut because he had a 1969 Z28 Camaro in his front yard. It had a scoop on it, kind of looked like a drag car. Oh yeah, I was driving at 14 too. My parents didn't like that. So I pulled in, and I really liked what he had, and I me and Peanut made a lot of relations, had a good time, and told him I wanted to buy the car in his front yard. And since then, I've kind of been racing. So I went home, talked to my dad. He didn't think much of it. He's really conservative. My mom thought a lot less of it. So my dad, without telling my mom, helped me get the drag car from Peanut. Peanut and I have been friends ever since. Me and Peanut went to my brother's tractor dealership in Lenoir, worked there for several years. He drove because I didn't have a license then. So we've been friends for a long time. We're still friends. Y'all see him all the time. But it started through racing, kind of. So I bought that first drag car when I was 14, put a motor and all in it, started drag racing. Drag raced it for a little bit. Then me and one of my friends, we built this is Hot BW's magazine, which I don't even think is in business anymore. Back in the 80s, we built a 210-inch wheelbase dragster, turbocharged, nitrous. We were probably the fastest. We've got drag strips around here almost as much as we do churches. And we started drag racing. We were always low ET at the drag strips. And it really upsets most of the drivers when they've got their big blocks, dual carburetors, nitrous, and some little 4-cylinder Volkswagen engine outruns them. We were running 154 miles an hour in 4.7 seconds in the 80s. So, and that'll be mentioned on this video if you happen to watch the whole video. It's a racing video. There's Charles. My son that is cutting all your laser parts here in this for every attachment that's built here. So thanks, Charles, for this. He's a cool kid. He's not spoiled. He's really behaved. He's as nice a guy as you'd meet. He's been racing. I kind of taught him how to race a few years ago. He is the Tesla Racing Channel. He has almost 200,000 subscribers. He's been on Bloomberg. He's been the Netflix show, Netflix Fastest Cars. The newest episode, he's in that. He races weekly. He has a lot of fans. He does a little legal street racing, brings home a little money. I try to stay out of it as much as I can, kind of like my parents did. I help him some, but so my parents, the part they didn't like was the money that it costs to race. So I drag raced till I was about 24. Then went to drag racing. Actually held the world's record for the fastest Volkswagen dragster for 6 years. Then I let one of my friends that Peanut was helping race at Hickory Motor Speedway, NASCAR, which is where they say the birthplace of the NASCAR stars. Harry Gant's my friend. He lives right up the road. And Dale Jr., I raced with him. Gary Earnhardt, Billy Parker, which is Catfish, Hank Parker's son, Brian Vickers, Matt Benedetto, a really nice guy. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you see this. Helped him out some. Parked beside some of the legends, raced with a lot of them, had a good time. Beat a lot of the legends, drag racing, including Glory McClenathan in Phoenix at the Buggerama special where there were 144 cars, got down to the top 4, trailered him. I've laid to win ever since I was a child. Everything I do, I want to win at, and I'm really good at looking around the rule book. It's just like looking at attachment. I look at attachment and can immediately see 10 things that need to be changed, need to be improved, and why somebody didn't do it, I don't know, because to me it's very obvious. I'm really good at geometry, math. I'm very left-brained. I've been diagnosed as a genius on the left, and I would say a dumbass on the right, but they said 4th grade. So I can't spell shit, but I can geometry or math you to death. And that's what really helps me at Everything Attachments and building you the best attachments made on the planet. You're looking through Nate and I's office. This is in a mezzanine that's up above in the middle of the factory. You can see out through the glass with the lasers that Charles is running and the press brakes and the tubing laser and the different things. So Nate and I really have a cool place to work, although we do work really hard. We get here early, we stay here all day. So usually when I would come in with a trophy on Monday from Hickory Speedway when I was younger, my mother would say something like this: well, how much did that cost us? So she was really into the money, I was more into the trophy. The first year I started racing, the guy that Peanut was helping, I let him borrow one of my drag racing motors because there was not a lot of rules in Bud Cup at this time. So he was way over horsepowered over all the other cars, and he was really good at getting the pole and being the fastest, but he drove in the mirror, and by the 3rd lap he was in at least 3rd or 5th position, and everybody kind of got tired of doing that every week. So I told him I'd just buy the car, and so he said he would sell it. So the next day I changed transmissions in it, and he came to tell me that he wasn't selling the car, and I told him it was too late, and I kept it. Never been to a NASCAR race in my life, even at Hickory Speedway. I think I'd visited there twice when I was a child. Came there, never been racing or anything in NASCAR. Came with his car, my few changes, well, it's my car now, and my motor. Almost won my first race. Won 11 out of the next 15 races at Hickory and Bud Cup. Went from having friends to not so much as the racers that year. Then went up in a couple more different classes to the late model. I was a UARA champion in 2000, and Dad was like, okay, this has got to quit. We need you at work. So in 2000, I sold everything I had to do with racing: cars, motors, transmissions, trucks, trailers, everything. It won auction while I was out of town, so I didn't have to cry to watch it go. The only thing I kept was my war wagon, which is all my tools and everything on wheels, and everything it took for what I wanted to keep for myself. Sold everything else for a good while. That was in 2000. Then I've not had a new car since '93 as far as a production street car. Then they came out with the Teslas, and I was getting ready to buy a Prius or something just to be efficient because I lived close. I wasn't really into cars anymore. Nate told me I ought to look at the Teslas because they're really fast. And so when I figured out, when they came out, I watched the interview of the first night they came out with the all-wheel drive performance model, self-driving, and I'm like, yes, I want to work on it. Fastest production four-door car in the world, that's me. So I finally splurged, spent a little bit of money on that. Been hooked on Teslas ever since. Taught my son how to drag race because I didn't have to. I'm older now, and I play on the weekends, relaxing, not on the drag strip. My feet are still almost on fire from every Saturday in NASCAR racing from the heat. So really kind of through with that. So I like the idea of having a factory car that had a warranty, that could go fast and win races. So we started playing with that a little bit. That's where the Tesla Racing channel was born. Charles started doing that. Y'all really should check him out. He's really fun. You'll see what kind of personality my son has and who's building or cutting the metal for your attachments. But between, so there's a whole lot of things between I was the fourth largest New Holland dealer in 2006 in the United States, and because of the internet, and we were selling tractors all over the U.S., and all of the dealers were kind of mad at us, so we sent in our termination letter and told them to bring a big ass truck and pick all their stuff up, and Everything Attachments was born. We started making our own attachments so we could do what we wanted to, which was make the best products on the planet, put them on the internet, make them reasonable, but better than everybody else's. We've created this company. We've kind of filled the dream. You know, this is what we wanted to do. We're good at it. I rarely get to play drag racing or anything anymore. The footage that George,
1320?
is that his name, George?
I'm not sure.
No, we got it posted.
Oh, Morgan.
Morgan, the video that Morgan posted, thanks Morgan, on our Everything Attachments page is one of the races that Streetcar Takeover. That was at Z-Max Dragway in Charlotte. If you're not into drag racing, you might not like it. It's pretty fun to watch, especially when you get halfway and you start showing more of Charles and his stuff. And he ended up having to leave that night. It was getting late, because they'd had a few accidents. It was getting late. He had a legal street race to go to, so he had to leave and asked me to fill in. And that's kind of where some of the fun of this came in, and where I was picked out that I was involved with this. So, but during the years of racing, there's a lot of what we call around here TED rules, okay? So NASCAR learned TED pretty quick, and Ted could read between the lines really good, as I read between patents and everything else, as I design attachments for all of our customers. I'm really good at looking at something and knowing what's wrong with it, knowing what needs to be made better, knowing why it's too heavy, knowing why it's too light, why it will hold up, why it won't hold up, whatever. We're good at it. I am. And through Nate, we're great at it. So if you wonder why, somebody said we want to hear more of the history of me and my racing, but really everything I did helped everything that we do here at Everything Attachments. That's where the Wicked Light grapples came from. I know where to put the holes in them. I know the size of hole to put in and where. Some people question, well, they should start small and go to big, but they don't know where the pressure parts are. So you just have to know what you're doing, and we really do. I think me and Nate together make the best team, and we'll challenge any attachment manufacturer to beat us at what we do. Some of the attachments, they're really complicated, have a whole bunch of moving parts. We're just not big enough to handle all that inventory, and we're really not interested in building those types of attachments. I've used and repaired everything that we make here pretty much since I was a child. I was scraping snow at 9 years old, had pockets full of money. I drove a tractor to school from the time I was in 8th grade, 9th grade. I'd drive a backhoe with a cab and air was my favorite. Park it right out in front of the school. Then take some pretty girls for a ride after school. So I've been around tractors and equipment my whole life. My great-grandfather was a mule trader, had his own blacksmith shop, saddle shop, made wagons. So then my father saw the first tractors come by on a trailer, which were Alice Chalmers, early 1900s. He was a big fan of those because he had to muck the stalls for the mules. And so then it was kind of a battle between the tractor and the mule for a while. Looks like the tractor won to me, thank goodness. But so when it comes down to our attachments, just what I learned in racing and all the rules that they had to build around me because of the things that I would do that weren't written. They've kind of changed the way they do rules in NASCAR. It used to be you couldn't do what they said you couldn't do. So that means if they didn't say you couldn't do it, you could do it. Now they tell you if it's not written that you can do it, you can't do it. So I'm not near as much of a fan of that type of racing because my abilities don't excel as much. I think that's a lot why racing has gotten a lot blander because it's up to your mind and your creativity to why you're the best, why you're the fastest, and it gives everybody a chance to be better than someone else because of their knowledge versus just doing a generic thing. When it comes to the big guys, it looks to me like they're slipping every day as we're gaining every day. And there's more and more people coming into this. The best are going to survive. We know we build the best attachments on the planet. Nate and I work hard. Nate and I have been working large enough together that we complement each other. We both know when we're doing something right or wrong, and we both give our input. We come up with what's best for you. So my son Charles, he's in this video. He has a Tesla Racing channel. Look it up. It's a lot of fun. I think you'll really enjoy Charles. He's probably going to die when he sees this video, but I just wanted everybody at Attachments to know, Ted is, Charles even calls me out in the video as he's just Ted. And there's a few people named Ted in this world. This Ted's a little different. He's on your side. He builds attachments for you. And with Nate and everything that we have going on here, most of my staff has been with me over 20 years. That was with me in the tractor business. As we've increased into the manufacturing, all of those people are new, but the good ones, they stay here because they like it. As you've seen, we feed them breakfast, we take care of our employees, we have benefits, and we share the love around here, including the money, because that's what it's about. We're not after just getting rich here. We're after really just being the best. It's kind of a competition and somewhat of, it's just fun to do it, isn't it?
It's a hell of a good time. Every day I come to work, smiling, leave almost, who my wife don't say, it's time to go home.
You better leave her out of it.
Yeah, let's cut that out.
But so we have a great time here. We're a family. We have a family plan, where us family, we've guaranteed each other to be family from now on to the end. So I don't know what you've learned of this, but Ted's kind of a different guy. He does things his way. It's usually the best way in his opinion, and it usually ends up winning whether you believe it will or not. So ride the boat with us, buy everything attachments. I promise we won't let you down. If something's not right, we make it right. So if you look for bad reviews of everything attachments, I don't really think you find many or any that are credible at all. And if you look at all the good things, they're super positive because that's the only thing we want to do. We want to do it right. We want to have the best stuff. We're not doing it for profit. If you tell me I can be a little bit less good at something but make twice as much money, that's not me. I'm going to be the best at that attachment if I don't make $5 on it. You come up with a better attachment than what we have that we make, we will improve ours, period. We're not going to be second to anyone, so when you're buying our attachments, you will never have a better chance of getting a better attachment. If we make upgrades, we try to make it upgraded to the customers that have bought stuff in the past. I know this is running into a long video, but there's a lot to be said here that I've been holding back for a long time about me, because people think if you race and do all that, well, either you were a spoilt brat or you had too much money. My dad wasn't poor. He definitely wasn't rich in today's world of billionaires and so forth, or how many numbers that is. But he was a really nice guy. He was very conservative. He and I thought alike in one way, except for wasting money on racing, which he saved his money so I could spend it. Then he kind of got tired of that. Like I said, sold everything, concentrated on work. I'm 55 now, so I've kind of grown out of it. I still like seeing my son do good. I hope he's safe. I try to tell him to just be safe. So he races. He does have a couple other cars he plays with. He lives in my house now that I built when I was 19 years old. So I lived in my house from 19 years old till I was 53. And then I built a house on the property where my parents had a house on Lake Norman since 1976. So even though that would be a fairly expensive piece, it was given to me. We built a modest house on it, and we have a beautiful place on the lake, and that's all by luck. We weren't handed a lot, we've earned a lot, and we want to earn your business, your trust. You'll learn, now you know where do I come up with some of these different things. Well, a lot of it comes from racing. Sorry, Mom. Where to put the radiuses, where is the load hitting the part, where can I put holes in it to make it light if it's going on the front, because I had the fastest race cars, and a lot of it had to do with I had the lightest race cars. And every car has to weigh the same, but all my weight was in the bottom. And no, you're not supposed to run tungsten, but I can't say if you cut my cars apart, you wouldn't find tungsten somewhere along in the bottom of the frame rails and different things like that. I've never been caught cheating, and if you've never been caught, you've never cheated. Won a lot of races. Definitely was not the most highly budgeted car there, but we definitely competed with the best of the best and beat the best of the best, won championships on the least. So we know how to make the best with the least and make it better than anyone else's. Harry Gantz, crew chief, was my crew chief in the UARA when we won our championship in 2000. He's still a great friend. I can call him up anytime, along with a lot of the other people. So if you ever want to know anything, you can PM me. I'll talk to you whenever. Anybody can call me on the phone. It's nothing special to talk to Ted here. After the doggone phone rings 5 times and the salesmen don't get it, I do anyway. So salesmen pay attention to this, please. So it's glad to talk to you. Finally we got this out. Yes, I do drive a Tesla. Yes, my son races it on the weekends and I end up with nothing, but that's okay. So now you know about Ted, Charles, Nate, and where everything attachments kind of came from. Hope you enjoyed it. So the weather's starting to clear up. Summer's coming. We were 12 weeks behind, so we did almost no YouTube videos, no advertising, no new products. We're over that. We've got a new factory. We're expanding. We've got a lot more capabilities. We've got a lot more killer machinery that's capable of growing this place for the next years. I want to leave my son set up right. So there's a lot more to come out of Everything Attachments. It's nothing but the best stuff that you're ever going to want to use. And that's all we're going to design here. If it is the best, we're not here for the halfway and more money. We're here for all the way if we can't get but a little money. So keep us in mind. Check us out. Check Charles out. Come to Everything Attachments. We'll be happy to help you with the best attachments built on the planet.